Hello guys, thanks for checking back in with me. So today what I want to do is put in this shallow well with this hand pump. I've got a little garden going on over here, me and the family do, and we wanted to get some good clean groundwater free of chlorine and at no cost. So what we've got here is right around $100 project, a little bit more maybe. We've got our pump I got from Home Depot online for about $65. The well point was about 15. It's a 4-foot well point. Got a check valve. It's about another 12 bucks. You're gonna need these male fittings. Don't go with the glue type. Go with the threaded type, because you have to change these things out periodically. What you want to pay attention to when you install this, I'm just going to mention it now in case I forget. This is always important. You see that right there? When you install this, you don't want to install it sideways. You always want to install it facing up so that the head pressure from the water will help seat that check valve. The weight of the water will help close that, keep that valve closed and keep it from seeping, which in turn will keep you from losing your prime. And if you get the threaded type, these are easy to switch out. All right, we'll get to that here in a little bit. First, what we're going to do is we'll get the casing in, and this is what you're going to need for the casing. A 2-inch coupling. Go ahead and get a couple of these. Pay attention and get the pressure couplings as opposed to the drainage. There is a difference. The makeup on them inside there, that makeup is a lot deeper, the socket, so that it gives you a stronger bond. This is more than just water pressure. We're going to be driving this essentially. I've got this guy here that I built. It's real simple. It's 2 by 3/4. All right, it's 3/4 IPS, iron pipe size. Obviously that fits down in there. We're not going to need the coupling today, because what I've got here is I've got a piece of 2-inch pressure pipe. It's not drainage pipe. It's PVC Schedule 40 with a bell end. I'm a plumber, so I can get this stuff in 20-foot lengths. Which is going to be to our benefit, so you don't have to put a coupling in there. First off, creating friction as we're driving this thing. Second off, it's just a weak point in the system and a potential leak. So anyway, we're going to use a full stick of 20-foot pipe. I've got an 1.25 inch PVC Schedule 40, 20-foot stick of that. And then what I've done is I've got 2 pieces of 3/4 that I've built here. This here is your typical fire hose, fire nozzle type deal, and then this came as a pro, they call it a pro pack. This is a jet nozzle. It's just a real small hole. I tested both of them out. They both got real good pressure. They both have their perks and the advantage. This one here, I can open it up and spread it and maybe dig out the hole, the washout a little wider. So the idea is we're going to take a 2-inch casing. We're going to go down with the 2-inch pipe. And then once we get down to about wherever we start to hit water, we're going to go 4 feet below this. Ideally, we're going to have this well point, this sand point here, completely below the bottom of that casing, and sucking good groundwater. We also have two fittings here that are going to be very, very useful. First off, you got this 3/4 FIP, a female adapter. This goes on. This is on the other end of those 2 jet pipes I made. Those are going to be what I use to dig the hole. This is a 3/4 iron pipe IPS thread on this end by Garden Hose with a swivel adapter. These are 2 different size threads. Garden Hose thread is unique unto itself. So this will screw into that, and that'll go into there, and then that'll go on top of my 2-inch pipe. When actually I have a bell end, so I won't need the coupling, but we'll have it just as a backup. And then what we've got here is what's known as an inside coupling, and it fits inside the pipe rather than on the outside of the pipe, making it where it has no friction as we're driving it down into the hole. I don't know if you can see that there. That fits down inside here. All right, and of course when you glue it, it presses all flat. No friction. All right, so here we are. This is the location of where I wanted to dig my well. It's right up next to the house, kind of protected. not far from my garden. I didn't have post hole diggers, so I used a shovel. I got down about 3.5 feet. I could comfortably dig without just wearing my back out. Fortunately, I'm here in Florida. It's real sandy soil. You see what came out of there? Barely any roots, barely any rocks. No rocks at all. It's Florida. It's all just sugar sand. There is hardpan down there somewhere. It's a black hard substance that I may or may not have to try to get through depending on how it looks here. I'm within a mile of the ocean and also within a mile on the opposite side of the Intracoastal Waterway. So the water tables should be fairly high here. As a plumber, I know that I hit water tables tying in sewers, which is about 6-7 feet deep. So I'm about halfway there with this hole that I've dug. It's just giving me a starting point. I'm probably going to get up on the roof there and use that to guide my 20-foot piece of pipe. See how it goes. It's going to be wet and muddy. I'll try to get videos and pictures as I go, but I'll definitely check in and update with some of the process. Wish me luck. Alright, so I got down about 11 feet with my casing. I cut my jet down to about a 15-foot piece, and as you can see here, I'm just letting it wash. I did drop down a string and a weight. I got down to water about 5-6 feet from the surface here, and so my casing is down about another 5.5 feet into below the water table, and I'm trying to get my hole dug out below the casing so I can have 4 foot of my well point, my sand point, beyond the end of the casing. You see all this dirt washing up? Just a second ago it was super black. That's the hard pan, that's the hard stuff. As long as you see dirt coming out of the pipe, it's still digging. You just let the weight of the pipe do the work. I had to work it a little bit to get through the hard pan. As you can see, it's starting to clear up a little bit here. I want a nice big wide opening so my well point can just slide right down in there. All this dirt to dig out. You just let it work. All right, well, we got it down. Had to do a couple different techniques. It was all the same technique, but a couple different tools. We used our jet, and then we used our adjustable head. I had the most luck with the jet, and we got down, I'd say, I think I measured, the casing went down 11 feet, and I got my sand point down. I was able to drive it with a piece of wood. I got it down the remainder 4 feet. This is actually the top of a 15-foot section here. And notice I got my check valve on with threaded fittings here, so I can always switch this guy out. I got the casing strapped off, and then I've got the well point itself strapped off. And now once again, let's look at this check valve. Can you see that there? See the arrow? It says flow. It's pointing up. Obviously we're drawing up. It's so important. I went ahead and I screwed my male adapter into my pitcher pump, and we're ready to glue it on. I've got this thing mounted. I got it all measured out. It's just going to sit right on top of there, and this back bolt hole here is going to screw onto the top and make it nice and secure. Once I get it pumping water, I'm going to pour some concrete down there in the hole. So it's nice and steady. I've got 4 young kids. They'll come out here, and you know how rough kids can be. So we'll glue this up. We'll give it a few minutes, and then we'll check out the pitcher pump. Alright, so I got it all put together, and I go to pumping on it, and I hear it sucking air. So I start looking at my fittings, and come to find out, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, there's a tiny little pinhole, of course, from the manufacturer. It's up in there. Let's see. You hear it? It's right up in there. Anyway, we're gonna give this a shot. I've got some JB Weld. I'll fix it. I think we can at least get it flowing here. And pump it until all the sediment starts coming out of it. You pump it until it's clear. But I'd say it's a success. I didn't have to prime it much at all. It'll be a lot more efficient once I get that pinhole sealed. Fortunately, you know, I've got the check valve below it, so it's not going to, I'm not going to lose a prime. It's just really affecting the efficiency of the pump. But I think some JB Weld will fix it. I'm kind of surprised they shipped this thing out like that. It's a pretty simple contraption. It's all cast iron. Anyway, I'm going to keep pumping this till it's dry, or until it's clear. And then I'm going to pour some concrete in there so it's nice and stable. We'll frame it out a little bit, keep the frost off of it. And we'll go ahead and patch that JB Weld overnight. Finish the project up tomorrow. I'll pour some concrete today so that tomorrow I can just finish framing it and we can pump some water. Thanks for checking it out, guys. I'll post an update on the finished product here shortly. Okay, so after about 10 buckets, starting to clear up a little bit here. Not near as much sediment. I wanted to go ahead and flush this system. It's always a good idea. You know, I could have went over the actual drilling part a little more thoroughly, but it's so self-explanatory. As long as you keep the pipe moving inside, the jet moving inside, don't let it get stuck. You want 4 feet out the end if possible, just enough for your well point to get out past the casing. And when you're done, hook the hose back up to the 2-inch casing and flush it out before you drop the well point. Then, when you drop the well point, go ahead and stick your garden hose down in the open end of it before you glue your check valve on, and back flush it that way so that the ports on it, your well point's got tiny little slits in it that allows the water to come in. But back flush that, which I did, and then you know, that's going to help with keeping everything flowing nice and clean. But I'm going to keep going with this, and then overnight I'm going to go ahead and pour the concrete around it. And like I said, tomorrow I'll frame it up. I'll get that JB Weld on there tonight. We'll check it out tomorrow with a finished product. Alright, so there we have it. I got it all framed out. It's regular 2x4 construction on the wrapping that post with just some fence pickets. The JB Weld worked great. We still got some sediment coming up. So we got good volume. Fill up the bucket in no time. All that orange and dark brown stuff you see there, that's the hard pan all washing up through there. So I capped it. I'm not the best carpenter. You can see some of my little screw ups there. It's on the back side. But there's the pump. It's nice and secure. I got the concrete down in the ground. Got my little pail on there. Got some free wood chips not far from the garden over there. The JB Weld, where is it? There. Ooh. There it is. That's where the pinhole was, right at the weld where the socket is with the fitting screwed in. But we got it. It's not sucking air. It's pumping great. And just pump the rest of this sediment out of here. And this water's safe to use. There's nothing wrong with it. It's sulfur water. It's just discolored from the sediment. A few more buckets through there, it'll start to clear up. Thanks for checking it out, guys.